Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share one precious concept that can save you from wasting a ton of time. These are the kind of tips I wish I knew when I start programming. And I know every time you start a new project you feel like Mozart. In no time you have 1000 lines of codes, but please stop doing that. Every time you think to build something, keep in mind this word. Keep your code reusable. So today, to explain better what I mean, I want to show how you can create custom components using only vanilla JavaScript, HTML and CSS. So let's say that our goal is to create an hamburger button and we want to transform this button into a usable component. When I talk about components, I'm talking about code that has the same behavior wherever you place it. Our goal is to obtain something like this. Here we have an empty project and let's say that we have to create an hamburger button. So the only things that we have to do is to go in our hamburger.html file and we have to copy this HTML markup. We have to pass it wherever we want these components. We have to save our index.html file and we have to go in our app.js file to initialize the function for that components. So here we want to say components dot UI dot hamburger, and here we want to pass our ID and we want to pass the settings that we have set up before. So let's say that we want an hamburger button with all centered line. So here we can say center. Let's save our app.js file, and if we go in our application, we can refresh the page, and as you can see here, we have created an hamburger button in just 20 seconds. So let's see how you can achieve this goal. Of course, you can achieve the same goal in millions of ways. This is my way, but if you want one more efficient, keep going with that. So if we go back in VS Code, as you can see here, in this project structure, we have a component folder. In all my projects, I like to have a components folder where I will store all the components for that project. In this case, we have an hamburger folder, and inside this folder, we have an hamburger.html file and an hamburger.scss file. I'd like to use Sass because I think that it gives more powerful tools to keep your code well organized and helps you to maintain large style sheet. But if you want to use CSS, it's the same, because anyway, the final output of SCSS file are CSS files. As you can see, inside the HTML file, I have created the basic markup of our components, while in the SCSS file, I created the style related to that component. If we take a look for a moment at this SCSS code here, we can see that we are looping through this alignments list to create all the possible style versions of our component. So for example, let's take a look at what happened for the string flex start. As you can see here, we are creating a CSS class which is ham dash flex start, and we are putting this flex start inside this property alignments. Okay, and as well we are creating all the related line styles. At the end of the style sheet, I have the classes that are useful for our hamburger component, but usually I like to keep them in a separate file. If we take a look at our compiled SCSS file, we have all the rules we have created in our Sass file. So mflexstart.line1, .line2, .line3, hamflex and so on. As a final step, we have the components.js file, where I usually store the related JS code. If we take a look at the code, I have created two objects, a components object and a UI object. This is because we can have components that are not part of our UI. And here I have simply created a function that binds our component to a click event and fires our switch class function, which does nothing else than switching the CSS classes of our line and creating the pretty animation you have seen before. As you may notice, the switch class function is not stuck with the component, but live inside the app.js file. This is because I want to keep this function reusable for other cases. At last, if we take a look at our app.js file, as you can see here, we have a simple function that switches the class that we pass through it. As you may notice here, the process is very simple. With the second argument of our hamburger function, we call the CSS property we have set up when we have created the components. And that's all for this episode, guys. And I hope that you found this video somehow useful. If you like this video and want to see more content like this, please consider to subscribe to my channel and leave a like. Let me know in the comment below if you know a smarter way to achieve the same goal, because I am always open to learn new things. See you the next one, guys.